So this is their story, and this is a fun episode. So again, we're dealing with the corona situation. So we're here in the VA in Oakland, California, driving through. This is our good friend, Dr. Tina Nguyen. She is a lieutenant colonel with the 131st Fighting Squadron out of Massachusetts with the F-15s out there. I was a little bit surprised. We were more friends and acquaintances before we found out that we were both at one point or another stationed at Travis military. But it's really cool, like, having hung out more and digging into it. Really, all the accomplishments that you've had, I mean, it's unique, it's special, and you're different. So I want to dig into that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I've always been called different since I was a kid. Well, my name's Tina Nguyen, and I joined the Air Force because I needed a way to pay for medical school. I got a postcard in the mail that said, do you need med school paid for? Join the Air Force. And this was like right after I took the MCAT. So
Okay.
That's how they got my name pretty much. And I brought it home, the postcard home, as a joke, saying, haha, of all the people that the military would recruit, I'm the last person. Look, family, they're trying to recruit me in the military.
Yeah.
I was I was such an activist in college.
Okay.
And so anti-military, even though my dad was in the military, my brother was the one who wanted to be a pilot. And I was like, the military, I would never join the military. And then my mom saw the postcard. She's like, yeah, you're joining the Air Force. I was like,
Okay.
No, I'm not. And she goes, yeah, you're joining. How else are you going to pay for med school? And you want to be a doctor and serve people in need. Why not serve your country at the same time? So she had me there.
Yeah.
So joined the Air Force first before I even found out I got into med school.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool that I was able to receive the Air Force scholarship.
So how was that process? So you had graduated college,
Yeah.
taken the MCAT.
Actually, I was still in college.
Yeah.
I was a senior in college. I had taken the MCAT. Air Force offered me the HPSP scholarship, the Health Professions.
Yeah, so what is that for anybody listening, interested?
Oh,
yeah.
So what it is a scholarship that will basically pay one-for-one of med school with a minimum of 2 years. So, yeah, so basically, thankfully, I knew about this scholarship before I even started med school.
HPSP? And that stands for?
HPSP, Health Professions Scholarship Program.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a non-active duty scholarship. It's for civilians. So you go OTS?
Yep.
Okay.
I got the scholarship. Typical, write a personal statement, send in your CV, get interviewed, get chosen. And so I got the scholarship before I even found out I got into med school. Thankfully, I got into med school. And they basically paid for all 4 years of my med school. They paid for not only tuition, but books, fees, supplies, like my stethoscope they paid for, my white coat, my blood pressure cuff, just things like that. And they gave me a monthly stipend to live on during med school as well. Yeah.
So out of med school, family medicine, and then the Air Force comes knocking.
Yeah, so did med school, and then after med school you have to apply for your specialty.
Okay.
And my specialty,
So no military stuff during med school?
No,
Okay.
There's a little bit. So I did OTS before I started med school as well.
Was it OTS or COTS for you? COTS or was it?
It was COT.
COT.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I should say that, yeah. So basically how it went was I took the MCAT, applied for the scholarship, got the scholarship, got into med school, and then the summer right before I started med school, I went to commissioned officer training in Alabama, and at that time COT was only 4 weeks long. I think they always change like the amount of time it is. So I was gone for 4 weeks, learned basic military stuff, and it's always a joke seeing the regular OTS students next to us because we were MedCorps. We nurses, dentists, doctors, and we had one JAG in our class. And, it's it's funny watching us
I
trying
think-
to march and things like
Yeah,
that. And
because they're higher ranks. So explain that. So Casey and I were cadets at field training, so we had but lieutenant colonels. You wore your rank when you went through COT or no?
Yeah, we wore our rank, and in Med Corps you get your rank based on the experience you have as a civilian. So because I was just a medical student, I was a second lieutenant, but we had dentists who were joining the Air Force at age 50 because they decided they wanted to serve their country. So they came in as a lieutenant colonel, right? But they literally have zero military experience.
Yeah, the definition of a line officer versus a non-line officer, COT was created for that specific thing. The Air Force is interested in your specialty and your profession, and we're going to compliment and associate you for that. So it doesn't make sense for a 50-year-old neurosurgeon to come in and be a second lieutenant, right?
Yeah.
But what does that mean as far as leadership? Would that lieutenant colonel come in and then have to be a squadron commander right off?
Potentially.
Okay. So he goes to squadron officer school right afterwards, SOS? How does that work?
Potentially.
Okay.
Yeah. It just depends on what their job is and how long they've signed up for and what their career goals are. But
Okay.
yep, you could potentially sign up, go to SOS, or do ACSC, or even, go to Air War College.
Okay. Wow. So you could make all those steps required for your rank.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So then, really exciting. So after you went to medical school, where did you do your residency at?
So I did it at Travis Air Force Base at David Grant Medical Center.
And what was that like?
It was interesting. So I had 4 weeks of military experience at COT, then did 4 years of med school with only a month of military stuff once a year, where I did a rotation somewhere. But I really had no military experience. And then I did a military residency program. So I went from 0 to 60 like that.
Yeah, okay.
So first day of orientation, boom, I am now a captain in the U.S. Air Force, and I am expected to, do everything that's expected of a captain, and I literally have 4 weeks under my belt of being in the military, and it includes PT standards, everything.
Okay.
I had to know what OPRs were. I was like, what is this? I don't even know what any of this is,
Officer performance reports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
annual reviews. Yeah.
I loved my residency. I am definitely the doctor, not just the doctor, but the person I am today because of my residency program and the people who ran it. My medical student advisor became my residency advisor as well, and now he is one of the big wigs at Kaiser. But to this day, I still keep in touch with him all the time. He still mentors me. He still guides me. But
so for those that don't know, Travis is, I call it the Costco of the West Coast of there. It's massive. And David Grant is a big hospital to go into.
Second largest hospital in the Air Force.
Okay. So to go in family medicine, right? Yeah, that's a big residency.
Yeah, it was a great residency program. Kind of became the typical jack of all trades, master of none.
Okay.
But being in the military, that's perfect, because when you go to a deployed location, or when you decide to become a flight surgeon with a fighter squadron, that's exactly what you are. You are the one-stop shop. You are the one-man deep shop, and you have to take care of everything. So family medicine was actually the perfect specialty for me to go into to be a good flight doctor.
So that perfect softball pitch. How did flight surgery come along? How did you get in the back seat of an F-15 to...
Yeah.
And what is a flight surgeon? What does that mean?
Well, a flight surgeon, it's kind of a misnomer. The term surgeon is an old antiquated term which means doctor. Like in England, every doctor is called a surgeon and a clinic is called a surgery.
Okay.
So really it's a flight doctor. So in the Air Force, every flying squadron has their own concierge doctor, their own flight doctor, right? Because as a pilot, you really want to have a physician who you can trust, who knows what you do for your job, who knows what the job entails, so that they can customize the treatment for that job.
Okay.
Because like a regular doctor takes care of sick people, right? Someone comes in sick, you treat them, you make them better, you send them out. That's normal doctoring. When you are in a flying squadron, especially in a performance aircraft, or a U-2 or something like that, right?
Big physiology type changes.
You're basically putting healthy people into environments that make them sick.
Okay.
So our job as flight docs is not to make sick people better, it's to keep healthy people healthy in an environment that makes them sick.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's like a different side of medicine. Like you're helping healthy people stay healthy.
Yeah. And you literally have to like completely change your paradigm when it comes to practicing medicine. And some people, if they get it, they make great flight docs. But if they don't get it and they're still just like, whatever, you're not that sick, just go home and get better, then they don't make a good flight doc.
Okay. You got to be proactive.
Yeah, like let me give you an example.
Yes, please.
Right? Like when I was just a regular doctor working in ER or urgent care, someone would come in with a head cold, right? And I'd be like, yeah, you have a viral infection, go home, take some, antihistamines, decongestants, whatever you want, this will go away. You'll get better soon. But if a pilot comes in and says, hey, I got a head cold, I'm really congested, but I gotta fly this mission. If I don't fly, I don't know if we have a backup. I don't know, like if you're a tanker pilot, I don't know if those jets are gonna get gas in the air. If you're a fighter pilot, I don't know if we're gonna be able to do this training sortie, whatever, right? So as the flight doc, you have to put on a different hat and be like, okay, let's assess the risks and the benefits of your illness right now and your performance as an effective pilot. Because now it's not you as a person, it's you as a key person in
That's
the
awesome.
mission,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you're sick, I'm sorry, I might have to DNF you because
So what is that? What is DNFing?
Oh yeah,
mean?
DNF means do not fly.
And what does that mean for you and the pilot? What is that relationship?
Yeah. So basically, if I have to evaluate the person and determine if they're safe or not to fly. And of course, a young pilot might be eager and be like, I don't care if I'm a little bit sick, it's just a cold, I want to get up in the air and fly. But I have to think about it. Well, if he is congested or she is congested and her ear fluid doesn't drain properly when she or he gets up to altitude, the eardrums could potentially rupture. And now this person is in severe pain, has like loss of balance, is dizzy, and can't fly for up to 6 weeks, right? So we have to think about things that way. And so that is why pilots are very nervous going to doctors, because doctors could literally just say, oh, you have a headache, it's a migraine headache. Put the term migraine headache in the chart, and now that pilot can no longer fly because migraine headache is a disqualifying condition to be a pilot. So that's why you really need to have doctors who are very in tune with the flying world, know what the regulations are, know how an illness will affect a pilot, and ultimately the mission.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in better words, be a bro, but at the same time, be aware.
Right, exactly. Like I would, I'm a doctor first and foremost. It doesn't matter what my rank is. It doesn't matter, what clinical setting I'm in, where I'm working, what squadron I'm with. Ultimately, I'm a doctor. First, do no harm. We got to do what's safe for the person. Right. We want We want the mission to be done safely and effectively, and therefore the people have to be safe and effective.
So for me, I was a tanker guy. My flight doc, no different than getting on a 737. You know, he did that. What was it like getting in the back of an F-15? And what is the requirement? How do you separate yourself from, a standard 737 kind of environment?
Yeah, so you have to fit into the cockpit. So you have to meet certain measurement requirements or minimums to be able to be in a fighter jet.
What's your specific fighter jet?
Oh yeah, mine is the F-15C/D Eagle, world's greatest air superior fighter. There's a lot of debate, but I mean, it's the best. Sorry, perfect record. Anyways, so I had to meet all the same requirements that a person, like, you talked about UPT before.
Right. Undergrad pilot training.
Yeah, you have to meet all those requirements to be in a fighter jet. And then I had to do the same requirements as the pilots, like water survival.
Okay, so you have a Class A physical, flight physical? Okay.
Yep, I have the flight physical.
But then water survival, egress, that stuff.
Egress, SEER, ejection.
Yeah. So in a deployed environment, because you went to SEER, what does a flight surgeon do in a deployed environment?
So what we do, it depends, but mostly every time I've deployed, I bring all the medical gear that I can get my hands on, and I'm basically the clinic.
Oh, okay.
The medical clinic. And I don't just take care of the pilots, I take care of all the maintainers, I take care of all security forces. Anyone that we bring to a deployed location or to a TDY that's remote or whatever.
From your reserve unit.
Yep, or active duty.
Or active duty even. Okay.
I bring the exam table.
Oh, wow.
And I basically, if there's any sort of medical issue, small or large, I try to have enough supplies and resources to where we never have to access the local clinic or hospital.
Okay, that's awesome.
I've literally sewn up maintainers who have, cut their nugget open on the flight line, come into my little tent, which is in the corner of ops or, with wherever they can find space. Sometimes I'm with the maintainers in the hangar, who knows, wherever they find space for me. They just come to me, clean them up, sew them up, go back to work.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
And then because we're staying in, again, depending where we're staying, whether it's tents or building, whatever, we do sick calls. So if someone is in their hotel room or their tent and they're sick, I'll go there and examine them, evaluate them, put them on quarters if needed, and then clear them and go back to work.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you're a deployed doctor. The MASH thing that people think, that really exists.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome.
That's why being family medicine is perfect, because I have a broad scope of practice, and I can do a lot of
women's
things.
health, kind of touch on it, all of it.
I know how to fix broken bones, splinting, all that stuff. I was trained during residency, so it's perfect.
Okay.
Flight doc.
So then when you go and you switch roles to the backseat of an F-15, what are you doing there? What is that for? What is that like?
Yeah, so the whole reason, people always ask, well, why do you need to know how to fly? It's basically because it makes me more effective at my job. How can I take care of a pilot in a fighter jet if I don't know what it feels like to be in the jet, right? And technically, as a flight doc, I'm also an aviator, so I get flight pay. I have to meet minimum requirements and currencies. I have to maintain currencies, just like the pilots.
So for all those out there, are you actually, hey, I have the aircraft. Are you pulling and turning at times sometimes? Like, yay or nay, depending on who you're flying with?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's in part of the job, is feeling that and knowing, like, okay.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Of course, the front seater always maintains control of the jet, but yeah, if we're flying somewhere and, the mission allows it, I'm allowed to handle the jet, and I'm allowed to fly for a little bit so I can get a feel for it. And then, of course, what is the best part of being in a fighter jet is pulling G's.
Yeah,
right? Really just, going aggressive with the flying, and it's not for everyone, but it's definitely for me.
I know we talked last night. Have you ever gotten sick?
I got sick once and threw up, officially threw up. I've unofficially thrown up other times where it never made it into the bag.
Sure. Doesn't count.
Yeah, but the one time it did make it into the bag was because we were doing a night sortie. I was in the back seat wearing night vision goggles. We had 140 knot crosswinds. It was a rough flight, and I got sick that way. I blame the night vision goggles.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
But like in the back seat, you know, you pull G's, you realize, okay, if I'm in the back seat, I feel what the pilot is going through when they do a BFM maneuver, which is basic fighting maneuvers, the dog fighting.
Yes.
And I am literally feeling what it's like to pull 8.6 Gs, 8.7 Gs, 8.8 Gs for a certain amount of time. When we get back on the ground, my neck hurts, my back hurts, I know that the pilots are going to feel the same way. So when they come complaining to me of neck pain,
it makes you know how to treat it. Okay.
I know how to treat it. And also, I like to learn. It depends, some flight docs are more active than others. I'm really invested in the flying. I'm really interested in it. So I like to learn what the different missions are, like this mission versus that mission.
Okay.
And that way, if I know, they're going to do BFM or a TI, I can tell the pilot ahead of time, hey, you're probably going to do these maneuvers. I recommend stretching ahead of time.
I want to talk about Prince William and how that whole charade went down, because I think it's a cool story. So you were out at Lakenheath. What was that experience like, and how did you get out there?
I got stationed at Lakenheath after my stint in Misawa, Japan, and it was like my dream duty station is to go to Lakenheath. One night I went out in Cambridge, because that's where I was living, Cambridge, England, to go celebrate my birthday with some of my buddies from the rescue squadron and special ops group. And word on the street was Prince William was at the bar next door. And I didn't really believe it, so I went next door. Lo and behold, there he was. So we went next door, had drinks there, and just kind of like stole looks at him. And one of my buddies, combat rescue officer with the rescue squadron, was like, you know what? I don't see any security. I'm just going to go up to him and thank him for his service.
Oh,
and
that's
we were
so
like,
cool.
Oh my gosh, we'll say nice things at your funeral. I can't believe you're going to try to approach,
right,
future King of England. Went up, no one stopped him, and they talked for like 10 minutes, and whatever Nick said, he came back over to us. He goes, hey, he wants to meet you all.
That's so cool.
And we went over there, and he thanked us for our service. I was blown away. Like, I was like, is this real life? Is this really happening right now? And it just happened.
And he's a pilot too, right?
Yeah, he's a helicopter pilot. And the reason why he was at the bar was he had just completed his last flight with East Anglia Rescue.
Okay.
So he was part of the rescue helicopters in Cambridge.
Yeah.
Finished his last flight. I think he was going to move
King
on
of
to
England
daddy
doing
duties.
that. Yeah. Oh, sure. Right.
Be the King of England.
Bigger stuff,
Whatever, And so we just spent the rest of the night like drinking and dancing, sharing literally sharing war stories.
Yeah.
One of the best experiences.
That's so awesome.
So surreal.
That's so awesome. Well, Dr. Nguyen, thank you so much for meeting with us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for taking the time and visiting me in my little office here.
Yes, it's awesome to know that Oakland has an awesome VA clinic.
Yeah. I have to say, I had a lot of job opportunities once I separated from the Air Force, and I am so thankful for this job at the VA because I get to continue to serve my bros. You know what I mean? Like, in active duty, being a flight doc, you take care of people, but then like now I'm taking care of veterans, and we have that common thread of being fellow veterans, and it's just like being a flight doc is the best job in the world, and this is the second best job in the world, to be a veteran and be able to continue to give back to the veterans is awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Nguyen.
Yeah.
I want to give you a hug.